Mike Tindall's Rugby 360 is gathering momentum. What does that mean for Rugby League players? And it's just 100 days until the Ashes.
Welcome to the Rugby League Outsider Set of 6, our weekly news show where we share the good, the great and the noteworthy of Rugby League from outside the Highlands. Let's get into it. Right, Carl, so first discussion point then, it's the let's get into it, yes or no, because you said to me there that you don't like the let's get into it line. Well,
no.
We need to do a little poll and see what other people think.
Makes you sound like a 16-year-old school kid on YouTube or something.
What's up? Yeah, well, maybe that's what I identify as.
TikTok Williams.
No, never. I fucking hate TikTok.
We've got nearly as many followers on TikTok as we have on YouTube now, so
mate,
I'm going to call you TikTok Williams.
Genuinely, no interest in TikTok. Hate it. Melts your brain more than watching football. Right, anyway, let's get into our news stories. 6 interesting news stories like we always do. First one, we're going to kick off with just 100 days until that big Ashes Test series with the Aussies.
Press event in London happened the other day. George Williams and Welsby were there, plus Australian comedians. Adam Hills was there. They're promoting the game for Wembley. Just great to see more promotion for the Ashes. I think they're starting to ramp it up now to try and get this Wembley event sold out. Obviously, the first 2 sold out within, what was it, a day or 2, really, wasn't it? Pretty much. Headingley was sold out straight away. Yeah, now they're really pushing to sell Wembley. I think what's good about this is I heard a few months back that they've not really spent any of the marketing budget because the tickets flew that quickly for the first 2 tests. They've got all the marketing budget to spend on the Wembley one. So here we go, ramp it up time, and I thought we'd throw our weight behind it as well.
Yeah, well, first thing they spent money on is obviously Jack Welsby's haircut, to the point where you barely recognised him.
On that. No, I genuinely didn't recognise him. The first shot I saw him, I was like, who's this? Like, I almost thought, have they just got an extra into standing in an England shirt? I was like, oh, hopefully not. And then I realised...
like a Jack Welsby lookalike.
I don't know if there's much call for Jack Welsby lookalikes in the UK, but maybe.
Yeah, so they took him down to London, went on a double-decker bus. They went to Wembley, spoke to Martin Fire, of course. And to me, it sort of screams of like poking the bear a little bit already. You know what I mean? All the good things British, and then sort of saying... to Australia, look, right, here we are, this is what's happening, what are you guys up to at the minute?
Yeah, by the way, Australia, have you got a team coach yet? Because they haven't, have they? There's been still no announcements coming out of Australia.
Yeah, so whether they're keeping the cards close to the chest, I don't know. A couple of things then that we do know at this point, just 100 days to go. 2 games sold out, Cal.
Yeah, Headingley and Bramley Moore Dock Everton, both sold out straight away. So, like I say, all pushing towards the Wembley now. I think Wembley tickets are going well, to be honest with you. Wouldn't it be great if all 3 are sold out? I hope so.
Yeah, I really hope so too. We also know that Jack Welsby is ahead in his injury recovery.
Yeah, he said on the interview that his body's repairing well and he's likely to be back. Because I think originally we were sort of looking back end of the Super League season. He's saying now that it could be back well before that. So good news for Super League. Good news for England. Good news all round.
Any comments on? I've got on my notes here. I've got the media day in London. I think you've spoke about it already with kind of what's happened and stuff. But Adam Hills had a few things to say as well. What did you take from his little piece to camera?
Just how much he's enjoying being the president of the RFL, and he's doing a really good job actually promoting the sport. He's giving it a national spotlight. He's getting it on Channel 4. We're all big fans of Adam Hills. Spot on this podcast for him if he wants to come on. Yeah, he's doing a great job. He could have had a newer Australian shirt on though. He had like really old World Cup shirt on, didn't he? Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, bit of improvement to go there.
Yeah, and for me, it's like they've got one within the gates, haven't we? We've let one of the enemy in, really. You know what I mean? We've got an Aussie there who's president of the RFL.
Yeah, it's a bit of a weird one, that, isn't it?
But it's only weird at this point now when you're about to play 3 tests against him, innit? You know what I mean? Other than that, you're like, that early on in the season, we were like, oh yeah, this is brilliant. He's an amazing advocate for rugby league, you know. And then now you're like, hang on a minute, he's just like a complete Trojan horse.
Kick him out. Kick him out front door. Yeah. One thing I would say is though, it was good to see that they've got this new. They did this PR event, but there could have been more press there.
Yeah,
and it would have been nice to get more national media there, and just an invite go out to other podcasters, and it would have been. I would have loved to have been there, and got some footage as well. But hey, I want to be.
You're banned from London, are you?
What? Yeah, he's fucking making room. What are you making up now?
Yeah, for crimes against fashion. I'm sure you're banned from London, crimes against fashion. Anyway, let's have a little reminder of those dates. First test, 25th of October, kicks off at 2:30 at Wembley. Like we say, there's still tickets available for that, so make sure you get yours in. It's going to be a belter as the first test. Test 2, 1st of November, kick-off again, 2:30 at Bramley Moor Dock. Completely sold out as we sit here right now. So whether there's tickets on eBay, I don't really know, but it's sold out. And I was speaking to an Everton fan over the last couple of days, and he was saying that stadium is amazing. So that's going to be a belter to go and have a look at that. And then the final third test, 8th of November, 2:30 kickoff at Headingley, again completely sold out.
Are you excited yet? Go on, I'm excited. I am.
Do you know what? I'm starting to get excited. It's good to see some media starting to trickle through, and the fact that it's like 100 days to go. It's like, right, now we really are on countdown. And I did a little bit of digging on why we call it a test match. Have you ever thought about why we call it a test match?
No, I haven't actually. It never even crossed my mind.
No, exactly, but we always do. Now, apparently it's something, and people will no doubt fact-check me, as they like to do, and call us morons and stuff like that, which I don't really take offence to, but, if I find you in the pub one day, then you stand by. But so, anyway, we've borrowed the term from cricket. So cricket played their first, what they call test match, against... Well, I think the first test match ever was Australia versus New Zealand. But anyway, I'm getting a little bit lost. And the idea is it is a true test of speed, strength, skill, because you've got the nation's best playing each other. So like I said, it started in cricket. Rugby League was like, okay, well, we're having some of that as well. And then obviously because they play like 3 games, it becomes test series, and that's why we call it a test series. So this is a true test. When you're talking about getting excited, like who doesn't want to see the very best players from both sides of the world, taking each other on in a series, not a standalone event.
Yeah, and we've actually had test series where there've been 2 games, haven't there, before? It's like, what's all that about? Like, you can literally have a draw, 2-game series. Nothing. At least it's a proper test series.
Something else as well. So the name test, like a international test.
Yeah.
It's actually reserved. Like, not every international game is considered a test. It's got to be sanctioned by the governing bodies and all this kind of stuff. So, and it's also got to go down on like the players' records. So it's like no guarantee that it is a test. There's like
just because there's 2 international sides playing it. Yeah, well, it
stands to reason.
Yeah, it stands to reason, doesn't it? Why is it called the Ashes though?
Didn't they freaking burn the stumps?
Well, no, yeah, but that was in cricket, wasn't it? So I've never actually looked into at what point the Rugby League Ashes became the Ashes. I know there'll be a Rugby League historian out there, a bit of
Rugby League history.
Yeah, give us some history on it. I don't actually know that.
Right.
Obviously, I know why the cricket Ashes is the cricket Ashes. Yeah, they burnt the stumps, and we've got the urn and all the rest of it, haven't we? But we probably just borrowed the name, did we? I would have thought.
I don't know, but listen, get yourself in the comments. Let us know. You guys are our fact finders this week. And also a big shout out to Rugby League History. If you've not seen his channel, then check it out. You must know why it's called the Ashes, so stick the comment down below. Right, we're moving on, Cal.
Let's go.
Let's get into it. Sammy Balmforth, right, who is a young Wakefield Trinity fan, has put it on the toes of Caius Faatili, right, who obviously he's got this iconic haircut, and he's absolutely put it on his toes. Carl, tell us about this story.
Yeah, so he's suffering with leukemia, and his hair was falling out, and he's shaved it off into a bit of a mohawk. It looks dead cool, to be honest.
It's an arrow. He's done an arrow.
Yeah, it looks dead cool. It does look really good, doesn't it? And I thought a bit of tongue in cheek. I think he challenged Caius Faatili to cut his famous mullet into the same cut, and Faatili, great spirit. He's accepted the challenge, and he's going to shave his hair. I think it's after the Leeds Wakefield game on the 25th, 27th. I can't remember the exact date. Yeah, and he's going to shave his hair off, which I just thought was a great sport, great story to tell, and hopefully we can get some money raised for the charity as well. Yeah,
the charity being the Candle Lighters. So a great charity doing amazing stuff there. We have got that video. We're going to play it now if you haven't seen it already, and we'll also stick a link in the description down below. Let's get into it.
Hi Wakefield Trinity, it's Sammy here. I've cut my hair today because it was falling out, but I mixed up a little bit, did an arrow on my head. If Caius Faatili wants to do it, because just for charity, I'm not saying he has to, but if he wants to, if he wants to, that would be amazing. But this is my new haircut, and Dad's just bald now, so.
Up the trend!
Up the trend!
Hey Sammy, awesome new haircut and challenge accepted. I want to join you. So all of this is about to go. Friday the 25th after the Leeds game, we'll cut it off and join you. There'll be a link in the Wakefield Trinity social media page. Just to give a little, just to donate, raise some money, raise some funds for candle lighters and the cause. So awesome, Sammy. Thanks for the challenge. Looking forward to it, and we're going to be advertised together. Let's go.
Can't say get into it after every segment now.
Mate, I am. I'm doing it until someone tells me to stop.
Give your head a wob.
Right. Anyway, so. Sammy, great effort, mate. Brilliant little video there. I loved the way he was like, I'm not, you don't have to, you know what I mean? But in everyone in the world knows, well, you freaking got to. Yeah, like, how can you say no?
Well, Caius couldn't say no, could he?
That's what I'm saying.
Well, everybody started sharing it, and yeah, quality though.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant, and exactly what the rugby league community is all about. So fair shout there, and thanks to the people that tipped us off about that story as well. Moving on to tackle 3, Carl. So Josh Charnley scores his 250th Super League try, which takes him 27th in the all-time try-scoring record.
Yes, and the second all-time highest try scorer in Super League is just behind Ryan Hall. He scored 2 tries, didn't he, in his last game, which is 250th and 251st try. And I'll just have a bit of a conversation about Charnley. I think he's been a great advocate for Super League, fantastic player. And I still enjoy watching him play. I think he still offers such value to the competition.
Do you know what the thing that gets me? Because we went to a game recently. It weren't the league game, but he was there. He was working for the radio.
He was on comms at Wigan. It was Wigan v Saints. He was on comms, wasn't he, for BBC Manchester, I think.
Yeah, and what struck me was he's an absolute unit.
Yeah, he is.
He's freaking. He's like a barn door. He's freaking massive for a winger. You know what I mean? Hence why he can't seem to fit into his shorts. You know what I mean?
No, but Josh Charnley definitely goes to Kitman and goes, what size shorts are you? Oh, I'm 36 waist. Give me a 32. 100% he asked for a smaller pair of shorts. I aren't buying it that them shorts don't fit him.
Well, it doesn't matter what he gets. He's going to roll them up anyway. But anyway, poking a little bit of fun at who is a great player. Outstanding. Getting up towards, his twilight years perhaps, but still performing on the pitch. Still got a little glint in his eye and wants to break records. And recently there was a little bit of clickbaity stuff going on, weren't there? With, he got
tricked, I think.
You think so?
Sort of, yeah. It was proper, what you'd expect from the press, wasn't it? So what podcast was it on? Was it?
It was either The Bench or The Verdict or something like that, wasn't it? Or...
Yeah, it recorded a few weeks ago. He went on there and he was asked basically, what would you be a dream ending to your career? And he said his dream ending would finish his career at Wigan. He started his career at Wigan. He's a Wigan lad. I thought it was a fair comment. He stood there in his Lead Leopards tracksuit. I think it's probably his thinks now it was a little bit naive. But, he was asked what his dream finish to his season, not who are you actually signing for and who don't you want to play for. And it kind of got blown up a little bit, which I thought was a little bit unfair, really. I think some of the Lee fans took a bit of an offence to it. I saw a few comments on some of the social groups, and they were going mad. It was like, oh, well, if you don't want to play for us, why don't you just... But at the time, he'd not been offered a contract by Lee, so... He was probably sort of chancing his arm a little bit, wasn't he, trying to get a deal with Wigan. So
no, I don't think that was his ultimate aim. I think the question was a fairy tale, wasn't it? What would be the fairy tale ending? And he was like, right, the fairy tale ending. Bearing in mind, he was a Wigan lad, Wigan legend, scored 141 tries for that club, and that was a huge period of his game. He then went off and did some other bits and bobs, including a bit of time with another sport. Let's not talk about that. And then he came back, and I can kind of understand it a little bit from Lee's fans' point of view, because it was a little bit of not a shock signing, but I'm pretty sure when he arrived at the club, people were thinking, oh, here we go. We've got this ex-Wigan lad, you know what I mean, who's joined Lee. They did accept him. When we did our visit to Lee, even the girl that worked in the kit,
in the shop,
was like, Josh Charnley is a huge hit with all the fans.
Yeah, he designed the training wear for the Lee. I noticed if you watch that video, she's got a little bit of a glint in her eye. She says Josh Charnley. I noticed that when I was watching it back the other day.
And they accepted him, and then he made these comments of this fairy tale. You know what I mean? If I could have had a fairy tale ending, it'd involve Ellie Goulding, a huge packet of Watsits, and probably be on the moon or something like that. I mean, it's just a fairy tale. And for the reaction that it got. It was a bit of a non-story, really, and which led to him giving a little bit of an apology, didn't he? He said in the end, look, that it was a bit naive, perhaps. My allegiances are to Lee, which of course it is, a professional rugby player when all's said and done.
Yeah.
So
Ellie Goulding, though.
Yeah, why?
Is that best you can do?
Hey, let's not get into that. Let's not get into that there.
These are his stats. He scored 48 tries for Lee, 57 tries for Wire, 141 for Wigan, and 5 on loan at Hull KR. I don't even remember any of those 5 for Hull KR, but it's got 5 for Hull KR as well.
Well, that was way back in 2010, so,
Check you out, Stato.
It was a little kid, wasn't he? He'd have been like a youngster there, probably half the size he is right now. Anyway, good effort, Josh Charnley, and hopefully you've got many more Super League tries left in you.
I think it's worth saying as well, they did put a statement out, did Lee, the other week, and I think he is in contract negotiations with Lee now as well. Yeah. Adrian Lamb basically said, look, he's a try scorer, and then Nima Winger's scoring tries, and he said the last 2 weeks he's played being probably the best of this season. So I think they've opened negotiations with him again. So hopefully he gets sorted, and we get to see Charnley flying high another season in Super League.
And another, just following on from this, it's slightly different. Although there are similarities in the story. So a potential signing that could have gone haywire with all sorts of speculation, and that is that of George Williams, the contract negotiations that is publicly ongoing now between Warrington Wolves and Dolphins down under and all this kind of stuff. And that has been handled incredibly well, and I think George Williams himself has said that if it goes, whichever way it goes down, all parties are happy. So that's exactly how it should be, really. So good luck for the sport there. Just got an announcement before we move on to the next tackle, and that is the fact that we are starting to pick up a few members, which we are incredibly grateful for, because without the support of our members and you guys watching the ads, you know what I mean, and getting that little bit of ad revenue and helping us build this channel to get some sponsors and that kind of stuff, we wouldn't be sat here right now talking about Ellie Goulding and Watsits and stuff. So just a bit of a shout out to Bradley, Thor, Robert and Martin, the members there that are first to jump onto the membership train. We have got some stuff coming for you guys, so stick with us. And if you want to consider joining the channel, there's a link down in the description below. Yeah, I'm
releasing our first members-only video this week. I'm going to do a deep dive into all Super League clubs' media presence this year. So I'm going to look at everybody's website, everybody's social media, whether they're doing documentaries, the lot, and I'm going to rank them 1 to 12. So there we go. That will upset anybody.
Right. Okay, so good effort on that. moving on to tackle 4 then, and we have got the viewers' mailbag as sponsored by More Than a Game. Just a little bit on More Than a Game, Cal?
More Than a Game do bespoke pitch marking, so they'll come use robots to give you a professionally marked out pitch, and they will also print you sponsors onto the pitch, or should I say spray you sponsor stencils onto the pitch, which as a community club you can also sell that sponsorship, which will help pay for your club have your pitch marked.
Yeah, so it truly is more than a game. So, and we all know, if you haven't got the markings on the pitch, you can't freaking play. So reach out to them if you want help. Right, a couple of comments that I picked out. First one, we had a bit of a discussion about the Castleford coaching debacle, all right? So currently without coach, you've got Chris Chester there at the minute, and they're actively looking for coaches. And Andy Bibby on YouTube said that we was talking about like the pedigree of the coaches that had been there, like the last 5 coaches or whatever.
Yeah.
And he made a point that Applegarth is top of the league, and also 1895 winners where he is right now. So
York, yeah. Would he be a good shout for Castleford? Possibly, but he's not. It doesn't fit the mould of what they said they're looking for. I think Chester wants somebody with NRL experience, doesn't he? So it's probably not fitting the mould for Cass at the minute.
Well, and currently.
Well,
he might be in Super League himself anyway.
York may well be in Super League next year, especially if it goes to a 14-team Super League, which we'll find out within the next couple of weeks what's actually going on with that. So, yeah, I mean, York are doing everything right, aren't they? Stadium, everything we've said before, stadium, two brilliant sides, everything's in place for York, really.
Yeah, they've got to be like jumping up on the old IMG ratings, and so yeah, real contenders for Super League. So yeah, great comment anyway. Right, next one. We talked about Christian Wade, and he scored a try. Did you see the thing where he like duped everybody? Like he almost looked like he had a hamstring injury.
Yeah, like slowed down, stopped, then stepped, and then he went off and turned the afterburners on straight away. Yeah, it's fast, isn't
he? Well, he's rapido, but he just looked like he hoodwinked everyone who was like, what happened there?
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, anyway, so talking about Rob McRob, that's probably a name. Rob McRob.
Rob McRob.
He has something special to play in rugby union, NFL, and now top-level rugby league. He'll do a job for Wigan. I'm Southern, brought up with rugby union. I think there are loads of union players who'd love to have a go at league. Things like the Ashes Test might nudge players between the codes a bit. Comments on that?
I think so, yeah. I think that's what Rugby League's been missing for so long, hasn't it? Like, rugby League on the international stage almost. I mean, unless you have Sky Sports and you go looking for Rugby League, you might not find it. But this Ashes series, it's going to be on BBC at 2:30 on a Saturday afternoon on the BBC. Everyone's going to see it. The stadium's going to be sold out. If there was anything that was going to try and push people towards Rugby League, the Ashes is it. 100%.
Yeah, and they're going to see the very best in the sport on display, against each other, and it's going to be violent, isn't it? You know what I mean? I don't think that.
Is it? I don't. There'll definitely be some biff, but you know what biff looks like these days? It's all just handbags and pushing each other, isn't it?
Well, you say that to the 3 or 4 lads that have fractured bones in the face this week. You know what I mean? There's still plenty of violence there.
Yeah. I mean. Yeah, like you say, we're going to see the best of Rugby League. It's going to be fast. It's going to be powerful. Absolute talent on show. I'm just getting excited about it again. But yeah, surely rugby union fans watching that are going to be like, oh, this is something I want to keep an eye on.
Right, and the final comment then. Give it a few days and I might watch this video, but as a Cass fan, it's tough to enjoy the sport at the minute. Can we fast forward to 2026 with a bit more hope, please?
They were probably thinking that last year as well, weren't they? Just get to end of next season and we have a reset. I think the problem with Castleford is I saw somebody put this, they're probably 2 tiers away from where they need to be, so they need to be a reset, get a load of new players in. That's not just going to magically push them up the table, and then they need to build on that and go again. Almost like sort of like Wakefield have done.
I was just going to say the same thing. If they just like cross the road more or less, and go and have a chat with Wakins, right? What has actually happened? Success leaves clues. You know what I mean? And it's like, right, what actually happened? Maybe they're on the case already. I know they've already put the feelers out for recruitment. There's little bits of recruitment. They've made a play for Liam Hood. I don't know if they've made a play. Complete speculation.
Yeah,
I'm going to get myself in shit again.
No,
but, there's rumours, we should say, that they're kind of chasing Liam Hood. Would be an incredible signing for Cass.
Well, that's kind of what I'm on about. So, like, Wakefield had, like, they built one team up to propel themselves up into Super League, and now they're at that stage where they're actually letting go of some really great players to push them up another notch. So that's what I mean with Scott Cass. They're a long way off now being sort of a top 6 side, aren't they? They just need to.
So what you're saying, I get what you're saying now. What you're saying is like it's almost there's like a biblical term, isn't there, where the skills that how you get to wherever is not the skills that take you to the promised land or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's a little bit like that. The team that gets you out of the championship is not the team that takes you to the top 6.
Yeah.
So they've got to like cut away some of those players to create a vortex to allow better players, let's say, in to then propel them forward.
You just explain. That was I was trying to explain it, which I was doing a dreadful job of. I think you've done a lot better job. Yeah. Bang on.
But you should have just said, Craig, let's get into it. And I'd have done it for you, mate. So I'd have done it for you. Carl, right, here's something that you're going to need to explain to me and to other people. And that is the idea of Rugby 360, headed up by ex-Rugby Union international Mike Tindall.
Yeah, so Rugby 360 is making loads of noise at the minute. So I'll give you a little bit of a detailing, but the reason why it came on our radar this week is Roger Tuivasa-Sheck. I think he's in negotiations for a contract with the Warriors for next season. Reportedly being offered something like 550,000 or something, Aussie dollars, around that sort of mark for another contract extension. However, Rugby 360 apparently have come along and thrown double the money on the table, and they're offering nearly $1 million Aussie dollars to sign him to one of their franchise sides next year. And I just thought it'd be really interesting to have a bit of a discussion on what this Rugby 360 means for Rugby League, the wider rugby community, and give a bit of detail into it as well, really.
Yeah, we've got to say that we've literally got 10 or 15 minutes for this, but we could go into this for hours and hours. By the way, if you want like a breakout episode on this standalone video, let us know. We could perhaps put a bit of a panel together, and maybe even Mike Tindall himself, if he's not too busy doing his royal duties and all that.
Funnily enough, I have actually reached out.
All right.
We'll see where that goes.
We'll see where it goes.
Probably into the mailbox of the royal correspondent, and we'll never see it from ever again.
Well, you never know. You never know. Right. Carl, just tell us a little bit more about it. Then we've got some notes. Going to read off them notes. This is it. If you don't know.
Yeah. So
let's get into it.
You're not bad. So yeah, Rugby 360 it's like a franchise model. They're hoping to have 8 men's teams, 4 women's teams, and it's almost like a Grand Prix style model. So like they'll play a set of fixtures in New York.
Grand Prix.
That's
better. Fucking hell, you're forgetting your northern roots there, lad.
Come on, we're branching out of Yorkshire, mate. Yeah, so it's a Grand Prix style, sort of like so they play fixtures at New York, might have some in LA, possibly Dubai or something like that. I think New Camp's been labelled. Tottenham Hotspur Stadium has been put down as one of the fixtures. And it's got massive sports investment apparently. Like the Saudis are investing in it. There's a load of money coming in from USA. Obviously, Mike Tindall himself is just a big profile, isn't he? So that's really helping to push this along. That's pretty much it.
Well, there's a couple of little things there. So city-based teams rather than like heritage clubs.
Yeah.
And now this is obviously like this is the thorn in the side for rugby league clubs, isn't it? And this is where we fall down quite often. We've got a strong heritage, really strong heritage. Is that holding the game back? Reserve your answer, but pose the question.
I suppose it is, isn't it? Really. I mean, when we looked at Super League originally, like Maurice Lindsay and Sky, their vision for Rugby League was like city-based teams, wasn't it? And essentially it didn't work, did it? So look, there's a massive debate that we could have there, and we could go on forever about it. But certainly, what Mike Tindall's doing here is he's looking at the sport on a global scale, isn't it? This is kind of like, I think you said it earlier. This is kind of like the start of what Vegas was all about. It's pushing Rugby League international, and I know we dabbled in it with like Toronto and stuff like that, but this is going up a notch. It's got the money behind it, and I think this will be a massive success. And I think rugby union is going to take a real knock here when this starts flying.
Another angle is that this isn't really. It's not like a predominantly sport-led idea. It's broadcasting-led and fan engagement-led. All of a sudden you can see that players' profiles, one, they're going to be on so much more money as being part of this club. Two, instead of like one long season, we talked at length about these loop fixtures and that kind of stuff. They're looking at having like 2 shorter slots, like one, I think it's April to June, one August to September, where they can just have these hard-hitting games, put their players on a pedestal, create a massive profile, and encourage a lot more fan engagement.
That model's been taken from cricket, hasn't it? So that's what they do with like the IPL, and we've also got the 100 cricket in the UK as well now. It's really condensed into a matter of weeks. Everybody gets watching it straight away. It don't go on for too long. It's a really good business model, I think. I think he's got a lot right with this.
Yeah, it's definitely something to keep an eye on. And then in terms of like player benefit, there's also like an underlying foundation of player mental health. And that's something that's becoming more and more talked about in it. We've got the Rugby League cares, and players are struggling. Look at all the carry on at Salford, with the financial problems there, the head injury issues that are going on. There was a meeting with Nigel Wood and all that, and I know that like Professor Ben Jones was in there putting more spiel on the the head injury situation. So that's ongoing. So if it can be a better environment for a player as well, it could be win-win.
Well, it's win-win. If you look at it, you play less matches over a shorter period of time. Your salary's probably double what you would get for playing in like the NRL over a really long season that goes on pretty much 10 months of the year. It's win-win for the players. I think it's win-win for the fans. It sounds exciting. The only thing I would throw in here, do you think he'd be like, I'm imagining this is going to be like full-on rugby union rules.
Yeah.
I wonder how a hybrid mode would go here. Because I've been told, actually, in rugby union, that rugby union is going to get more and more like rugby league. So in the rucks now, at sort of junior level, I can't remember what age group it is, but I think they're sort of starting to phase out rucks. So almost like a play the ball, like non-contested rucks and stuff like that. So the two sports are getting closer and closer all the time. I don't know if Mike Tindall's going to be smart here and just go, you know what, we'll make some sort of hybrid rules in between. And then you're getting the best of the rugby league fans, you're getting the rugby union fans, and you could absolutely fly with this.
Yeah, you could. I mean, but obviously what we've not mentioned is those heritage clubs, and as we sit here right now with IMG, and we know that the sport is in complete upheaval at the moment, isn't it?
Yeah.
With the strategic review that's going on, all that kind of stuff, we've got no idea where we're going to be in sort of 12 months' time. But I'm sure there's clubs there that are looking at this, and we've heard rumours from clubs and club owners in the past as well, saying that their idea of being in Super League, there just isn't one. Like the chances are they won't get there because of the situation of the club, the fan catchment area, the finances, all this kind of stuff. Chances of getting into like Super League is very, very slim.
Yeah.
But at the same token, we don't want to lose these clubs, do we?
No.
So how would that work? Would Super League be below? I mean, we're talking like it's actually happening. You know what I mean?
I know. What like
it's more fantasy than Rugby League 26 at the minute.
I don't even know where to go with that answer, to be honest with you. To me, Rugby League needs to be on a national scale, and we're going round in circles. But I'm going back to like NRL talk of them coming in and all the rest of it. Yeah, I don't know.
Last thing I just want to talk about then is like, so Derek Bowman released an article. He's reported in one of the Rugby League thingies. I can't remember who it was, and he made a bit of a play on like the fact that we shouldn't be that reliant on Sky. I'm paraphrasing here. You shouldn't be that reliant on the Sky broadcasting deal. And and he gave some real good ideas about like how we could potentially finance the game ourselves without a broadcasting deal, and therefore be in a stronger position when it comes to like negotiating and stuff. And it's like the way that is it DAZN or whatever, you know,
The Zone, yeah.
DAZN, you know, does for boxing and that kind of stuff, and some of the other Amazon streaming and that kind of thing. So there's definitely a need to become more reliant to streaming services or broadcasting or whatever, and I think that's at least held back by this our take on the broadcasting.
Yeah, what does he? What was? Can you remember the numbers that he gave?
Well, we're going to talk about this in the Williams Weekly, but he basically said 150,000 people was reported to. The only reason they've got Sky is for Rugby League, right? And it seems like not a great deal, not a big number. However, when you crunch the numbers and do the maths, Sky only need about 45,000, give or take, subscriptions.
Rugby League fans subscribing.
To pay for that central pot of money that then's distributed to the clubs, I think, which they get 1.3 million or something like that. So, and it's just nothing, especially when you look at like billionaire owners of Wigan and some of the other, you know, multimillionaire owners of clubs, and, you know, and the resourcefulness that those people could bring to generate more income. We shouldn't have to rely on the Sky package. So, anyway, in the Williams Week, should we just get into it now?
Well, we're on the next tackle anyway now.
Yeah, so
let's go into the Williams Week.
Yeah, so
let's get into it.
Let's get into it. He's picked it up. There we go. So basically, my Williams Week this week, like, I just want to pose this. How many people would, if Rugby League weren't available on Sky, subscribe to Sky TV? Right, and the reason why I'm asking this is a bit of a loaded question for me, because I have like the Sky package, right, and I have, you know, my wife watches a lot of like drama and crap like that, but then she also flip between Netflix and YouTube and Prime and Amazon and everything basically.
So you're paying for all of them.
She's completed Netflix twice, I think, right? So I'm paying for them all. I only have the only thing I watch on telly is Rugby League, Super League, you know, and the occasional Championship game, women's game, you know, wheelchair game if it's on or whatever. If that weren't on, I wouldn't have Sky. It's overpriced. You know, it's the level of broadcasting is getting worse and worse, you know, as the years go on. And I wonder how many other people out there that wouldn't even have Sky if Rugby League weren't on it. And I know we're a small pond, aren't we?
Yeah,
we are a small pond, but
it's hard to say because I'm in the same boat as you. Like, I only watch Rugby League on the sports channels now. I have an interest in a lot of sports, but I don't have the time to watch them all. So I only really watch Rugby Leagues, which it brings us back on to Super League Plus, I suppose. That's, to me, is probably one of the reasons that they set Super League Plus up. I think they're probably testing the water with it, seeing how many people subscribe to it. And then, could it become its own streaming service in the future? Does the governing body have that kind of finances to set that up? Don't know. But yeah, I think, to answer your question, I think there'd be a lot of people probably wouldn't have Sky Sports if it weren't for Rugby League. So yeah, if you've just got a standalone, well, that is why that's why Super League Plus was set up, wasn't it?
The point that Derek Beaumont made is that number, the number of people that would scrap their Sky if they didn't have Rugby League on there, that is the litmus test, the acid test for what as a sport I talk about, what we're really worth.
Yeah.
And therefore what we should go to other broadcasters with, you know. So
Derek made a really good point about having our own sort of broadcast channel, but there were a lot of other things that he said that we should be doing, and I think it was really good comment. He was like, we should have like documentaries on each club on this. If we set up our own TV package, say, or our own streaming platform or whatever, and he's like, have documentaries on of each club, and the disciplinaries could be broadcast. How good is that of an idea?
Yeah, I know, yeah.
I think that is, because we don't see any of this, do we? It's all behind closed doors, and you could almost make a flipping, like, Jerry Springer show out of it, you know what I mean? But this is kind of like, I liken this a little bit to, like, wrestling, sort of, like, if you got to see behind closed doors what was going on with, like, the disciplinaries, it's like backstage at the wrestling and stuff like that. There's loads of stuff we could be broadcasting and making available to fans and more talk shows. And there's loads of people like us doing podcasts and stuff like that, and you could incorporate all that into one network, and I think it'd be really powerful and really valuable.
Yeah, I mean, would you be setting your reminder for the match review panel?
Oh yeah, probably more exciting than the some of the games, to be honest with you. Yeah. Could you imagine like Derek going in there and arguing the toss with whoever about why his player should only receive 2 penalty points this week? Or
I mean, you look at
Jared Warrior Hargreaves going in. Oh yeah, I'm really sorry. I'm not going to do it again. I'm not going to do it again.
Yeah, it's just you got like a 20-odd year history of belting people, Jared. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely an interesting talking point, and I think there's exciting times coming for Rugby League, for Super League, grassroots, all that kind of stuff. But I think we've got some crap to get through. So we just got to keep going and keep moving forward, but keep our eyes and ears open for concepts that that could work. You know what I mean, and not just drop back on this is how we've always done it and this is how it's always been. And you know what I mean. We don't want to lose those traditional heartland clubs and stuff like that. Like we've got to cut some of this away, I think.
Yeah, well, I think I'll go back to it like IMG, like how I've always kind of backed what IMG are doing, because they've started raising standards amongst the clubs. And one of the reasons I'm going to do that video that I said I'm going to do, we're looking at all the clubs' media. Some clubs are actually producing great documentaries, and I think Featherstone are actually doing something very similar. Wakefield are doing something similar. And there is really good content out there now. And I think if you can package it right and put it in front of the right people, I think they're on to win it. I think the NRL, that's one of the reasons they're looking at Super League, isn't it? Because they've got a contract with Fox at the minute. Well, I think they're wanting to literally go out off to the bigger markets, to America and DAZN and stuff like that, and basically say, well, we've got the NRL and Super League and international rugby. What sort of deal can we get for the full package? So I think they're playing it smart, but it's all gone a little bit quiet, hasn't it, with the NRL and what's going on there?
Right, so there it goes. Any final afterburners, Cal?
No.
Brilliant. Okay, that just leaves me one thing to say. Let's get out of it.
Yeah.